Spanish Golden Age took place between the 15 and the 1600s. At that time, it wasn't the usual theaters like we're used to seeing today. Back then, they actually used houses to perform their plays in. The first professional theater wasn't built until the 1570s, and they were called corrales or courtyards because they were actually built in courtyards. On both sides of the house, there were walls of the theater, and in the middle was a patio for standing spectators. And if you had a bit more money, you could sit in the grades or the rows of seats with roofs over them. In the back was a snack bar that sold fruit and drinks. Plays were scheduled every day except for Saturday, and they always started in the afternoon. Before each play, they would usually feature a singing or dancing bunch before the action. Audience was lively and noisy. If they liked the performance, they would shout "Victor" and blow whistles and shake rattles. Now, when it comes to the performers, women wasn't as accepted as the male actors. They were viewed as untrustworthy. In 1587, it officially became legal for women to work as performers. Even though women were granted the right to act, society never accepted it. But this was only the beginning of women making their way in the theater world.
Religious drama is a very important part of the Spanish Golden Age. Once the country of Spain was united at the end of the 15th century, religious theater was fully established and flourished. The importance of this religious theater in Spain continued for a long time, much longer than in other countries. These religious dramas were first performed actually inside the churches during ceremonies and masses. There are a few aspects of Spanish religious theater that differentiates theater created in Spain from that of other countries. Spanish religious plays were known as autos sacramentales, which were written for the Corpus Christi festival. These one-act plays would honor and refer to the sacraments. These plays would serve to validate the teachings of the Church. The plays had characteristics of medieval morality and mystery plays. In the 1600s, professional troupes performing auto sacramentals would have to perform their piece for the king and the city council to approve before performing for the public. The troops would tour through villages and mount their plays on carros or wagons that the plays could travel on. All of these plays and their equipment were funded by the government. This shows that the production of religious plays was very important to the Spanish culture at the time. Religious dramas are still important to Spain today, as some are in fact still performed. Honor is a major theme in Spanish Golden Age drama. Theater was used as a metaphor for life, and honor was therefore represented in a number of ways on stage. For example, reputation, disillusionment, and hypocrisy. Right versus wrong is a common theme in plays from this period, and Lope de Vega himself believed that everyone reacts to honor. Honorable Christian conduct is enforced by the public, and to lose your honor is to live in shame and despair. The definition of coercion refers to the act of persuading or convincing someone to do something using force or other unethical means. When you threaten someone harm if they do not sign a contract, this is an example of coercion. Losing your honor in the Spanish Golden Age would result in a lack of strength, and you would be more likely to fall under coercion from those who still maintained honor. A large number of plots focus on the fear of lost reputation and on masculine honor based on women's chastity. While women seem to control their men's honor, gender roles are only very conservatively challenged. While poverty is everywhere, the plays are filled with picturesque scenes, glorious churches, and courts. Still, the playwrights of the time throw a bit of cynicism in their work.
Hello guys, my name is Belange Kikombi, but I go by BK. Alright, I'll be talking about Spanish Golden Age in relation to two things: socialization and cultural exploration. But I'll start with socialization. We already know the definition of socialization. So socialization is the activity of mixing socially with others. Spanish Golden Age theater refers to the theater in Spain roughly from 1590 and 1681, and then emerged to European power after it's unified by the marriage of Ferdinand II. Back then, Spain had a specific style of playing their shows, but later in 1603, after 1603, only licensed company could work in collaboration with Spain. And back then, countries like Italy, Portugal, France, and even Britain were licensed. So most of their troops could travel to Spain and perform in the metro cities. All right, let's talk about cultural exploration. What is cultural exploration? Cultural exploration means that foreign travelers leave their home environment at home, bring only themselves and desire to become part of a culture they visit, and this involves transformation in a way of life. So, in relation to Spanish Golden Age, a lot of troops, actors, and playwrights travel or march from Italy to Spain to perform shows in the metro cities. Example of a great actor back then was Gil Vicente from 1465 to 1536. He acted his home plays. He worked in Portugal as much as he worked in Spain. So he was really much working from Portugal and Spain. And another example of a great person back then was Don Juan from 1579 to 1648, a Baroque dramatist. He wrote around 400 plays. He's from Italy and later migrated to Spain to develop his career. So thank you. That's all I have for y'all.
The Spanish Golden Age was a new era, and it helped them empower the theater by the following things. It finally allowed women to be a part of the theater. Women were licensed to perform in 1587, but this practice remained controversial until 1599, when a royal decree stipulated that only women married to company members could perform. During this time, men and women weren't allowed to cross dress. If a woman was to wear a men's attire, she would only be allowed to wear it from the waist up. And below, like waist down, she would have to wear a skirt. She wasn't allowed to wear like pants. Um, After the Spanish Golden Age, it was still a couple more years until women were finally allowed to wear men's attire on stage. So the Spanish Golden Age did empower women to even get a chance just to perform before, since before only men were allowed to perform, and women wouldn't even be able to perform if they weren't married to somebody who was in a theater group. The Spanish Golden Age did not focus around subversion, rather, it relied on reaffirming the values, class system, and norms within the country. While women were allowed to act in theater, the perspectives and treatment of them within the plays were fairly traditional.
The Spanish Golden Age, politics and theater can be summed up to two major categories: promotion of the class system and changing civil rights. During the years of the Spanish Golden Age, the Habsburg monarchy, known to be great patrons of the arts, reigned in the country. In this time of peace and moral recovery, comedias or comedies were widely popular. Many playwrights explored themes of love, betrayal, and redemption, especially in terms of the Spanish code of honor. Lope de Vega, for example, often explored the social structure of Spain in his plays. He created well-rounded characters from different classes to reaffirm the dignity and honor of Spain's structured society. Furthermore, as countries like France and England began to expand civil and religious rights in the late 1500s, perspectives around the presence of women in theater began to shift. Spain was among some of the first countries to allow women to act during this period in time. However, this did not mean women as a whole were treated with the same dignity as their counterparts. In fact, Women who were unmarried or unaccompanied had to sit in segregated areas of the theater called cazuelas. To conclude, the Spanish Golden Age is defined by three key dates. 1580 marks the start of the Spanish Golden Age. Moving away from courtyard performances, productions in chorales or public theaters became commonplace, especially in big cities like Madrid. 1635. Death of the famous playwright Lope de Vega changes the course of theater within the country. His famous and most influential works include Fuente Ovuna, released in 1614, which utilizes a collective hero, and The King, the Greatest Alcalde, released in 1620, which explores the Spanish code of honor. 1680 marks the end of the Spanish Golden Age. This was the result of two key factors. After the death of Calderón de la Barca, no new great playwrights arose, stunting the growth of theater in Spain. Furthermore, after 1680, Spain was hit with severe censorship laws. This spurred the switch to neoclassicalism and away from the styles of Calderón and Vega.